And being kind to yourself means learn what is your strength. What is that you can bring out to the world.
Welcome to the Tales to Inspire podcast. Before we get started on this episode, I would like to invite you to our community so that you can hear more stories to inspire change within your life and positive change within the systems in which we live. All I want you to do is to click on the subscribe button. Your comments mean the world to us with anything that's resonated with you, and I absolutely love your support. I can't wait to go on this journey alongside you. Thank you so much for subscribing. Let's get into today's episode. Today, our bite-sized episode is with Reuben Sam.
I'm Reuben Sam, and this is my tale to inspire.
So, Reuben, we're going to jump straight into the theme, and there's a few themes with you and sharing your story. So I want to jump into kindness, okay? Now, what does kindness mean to you?
Kindness, that's a beautiful word. First of all, it's a beautiful word. And I think that the principle of kindness, it was instilled from my parents. So since I was a kid, kindness was a center of the family. Now, I'm the oldest of in the household, let's say, within the three kids at home. And my parents, my mom, has always instilled kindness. And to me, kindness means being positive, but at the same time, in the hardship, finding the positive side. That's why every time that I go through hardship, I try to learn from that. But it's a process that you need to go through. And kindness means being there, being aware what is going on, and being able to see the positive and share that positive light within the darkness. That's why I'll give you a quick example. When I was a kid, both my parents, when they moved from Ghana, which is a country in Africa, they didn't really know what was going on in Italy. That's where I was brought up. And they were able to just help people regardless of what they had. They told me that it's important to just give regardless and without expecting anything back. Because that what means being positive and being kind. Giving without expecting anything back and see the positive and the light within the darkness. That's what kindness means to me.
I've never heard anyone say that definition of kindness, because often we do things with an expectation that something's there to be given in return.
Yeah.
And for you to say, actually, you're doing something for someone or for something or whatever it is, even for yourself, you're not expecting the return. You know, what you can control is the thing you do. What you can't control is the return.
Yeah.
You know, and that's special. What about then, in that case, if someone's unkind? Do you believe that everyone has the ability to be kind? And what about if someone is being the opposite?
I think it's that people that are on the opposite side haven't received that same treatment when they were either kids or when they can let's say, a bit frustrated. They can be frustrated. But I don't take that upon them, because there are a lot of circumstances that go behind a person. So I'll try to just approach people and say, why you are this way. I try to figure out. It's a process of learning, and it's really important to just be you that are the person that know what kindness is. You have to be the first one to push and, teach that kindness to that person. Of course, there will always be some, let's say, traction. People would just stubbornly be, furious. They won't be able to just accept that kindness is something that they want to show. But the first thing first, you have to be the person. You have to be proactive and try to learn and teach them what it means to be kind.
What about? So we're talking about individuals here. What about if a system is unkind? Okay, so what about if a system is not inclusive to people moving from Ghana to Italy, or people who look different, or to people who speak different, or how do you then view that? Because you've talked about, obviously, people have been through difficult circumstances, and their circumstances are different because you never know what's behind that person's story. But what about when the system isn't built to be kind or is not kind?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question, because there we take in the bigger picture. How can we pretend and control that system? I think it all goes to the small, which means whenever you find the right people within the system, they're actually pushing your same narrative. You find your group, you find your flock, you find your own herd where you can push forward. We know that many times the system is not built to support everyone. Yeah. And we can't deny that. So we have to be sure and we have to be consistent and positive to find our own kind. And that's, excuse the pun, okay. But that's where we have to just push, because within the system, there's always something positive. Mm-hmm. Within the system, regardless, you will always find, people get benefits, although, there's lots of layoffs, mm-hmm. but people still get benefits to make sure they can live off mm-hmm. of those benefits. The system is not built for everyone, but there's a part that has to be followed. And if that part is matching your values, I'm 100% sure that you can just reiterate and push that narrative towards the kindness.
Just also remembering as well, within that system, that it's full of people. The system is made of people. Yeah. And the system is made by people, it's full of people, so actually you're just finding your people within that system, exactly. who then may be able to, what you just said there, is kind of create the change within the system, yeah. and then influence that. Yeah. But I think it's hard, because as humans, especially in the north of England, we love to blame, look at everyone in the south. Everyone, everything's, and you can see it so easy, and it is true, but what good do you get out of putting blame into things that you can't control? Yeah. There's a line, and I think it's figuring out where that balance is,
Yeah, I think it is really important to, as you said, the control part, because we need to be accountable, but at the same time we have to be aware that there are some things that we cannot control. You can push the narrative as much as you want, but there are things in your world, within even your body, that you can't control, because they go without you being involved, you having to say in a word, or you taking action. There are some things that you can't be involved and you can't control. And once you get to that point of realization where, okay, I can't control this, how can I find a way that this specific situation can benefit me or can benefit the people around me? You have to find that solution.
So then we've talked about supporting others in terms of being kind. We've talked about the systems. Yeah. How can we be kind to ourselves?
Ooh. That's a great point, because I've been taught about kindness, but I haven't been kind to myself. And this is because I had expectation set up by the society and the system, as you said. And since I couldn't meet those expectations, I wasn't kind to myself. I didn't know myself. And being kind to yourself is being aware that there are things that you cannot change. And this goes back to the same principle of the control. Mm-hmm. You can't control everything. You can control yourself fully, because there are things within your body, within your mind, within your realm that goes without you. And being kind to yourself means learn what is your strength. What is that you can bring out to the world. Once you identify that, you know that the flaws, the weakness are just fickle, And once you understand that, you will embrace more yourself, and you know that you will be more kind to yourself. I personally was definitely not kind to myself when I was a kid, because it's not easy to, walking around with the condition and being always stared and say, going back home and say, looking at yourself in the mirror and say, why myself? Why is this happening to me? Why should I just stay at home? Because I get fingers pointed, I get called names. It's hard. And I was definitely not kind to myself, because I was going through, wrong path that I shouldn't have gone. But it's really important to just understand who you are, embrace your strength, and if you have flaws, learn from them. So that's when I see, where I see kindness. Being kind to yourself means understanding who you are and embracing your strength and push that strength out.
Which is weird, right? Because when I was at school, if I wasn't good at school, if I was bad at maths, for example, which I was terrible at maths and English, okay, I'd get extra. They would give me extra work to do on maths and English, but I was great at sports.
Yeah.
I never got extra sports to do. You know, like, give me more of my strength.
Yeah.
You know, it was, no, have more of your weakness just to get it up, to like level it out. But actually, now I'm looking back from what you just said there is, feed my strength.
Exactly.
You know, and feed my strength. I'm not saying disregard maths and English. Yeah, keep giving me the support I need. But how often do we feed our own strengths?
Exactly.
Which is really interesting that from a young age, I don't know if the system's built for that.
Yeah, we're not told, and the system is not actually built for that, because it's just built to give you a different set of skills. But it doesn't really give you the tools to identify your strength. And that has to go back in your household, because it's not the system actually responsibility to identify your strength, but it is your family, it's your friends, your circle. And once you identify that, you know, if I was a kid now, I'll say, okay, I'm just dropping off school. No, if you're at school, just stay at school.
Yeah.
But identify your strength and push that. We have amazing athletes. We have amazing mathematicians, because they build and they've leaned towards their strength. So it's really important. And as you said, we have to, you know, even if we're provided with different set of skills, we need to just pinpoint that one and say, okay, I'm going for that and I'll be the best.
And I think pinpointing being kind to yourself is one of the fundamental ways that's a foundation.
Yeah.
You know, and I think before we go into any, you know, job circles, being a doctor, a businessman, or a model, or whatever it is, before that, the overarches everything has to be kindness.